Greetings and glad tidings, and we thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Community Wellness Life channel here on YouTube. And we have a special guest in our studio tonight, the United States patent number US6630507 B1. This patent literally saved my life, and I want to go through how we met in the beginning of our story and how I come to know this patent and fall in love with it. And let me start from the beginning. It was back in 2008. I was diagnosed with a rare blood disease, idiopathic thrombocytopenia platelet disease. And idiopathic means they don't know why I had this disease. It was the same as if I had AIDS or leukemia or lupus, but I had none of the three. That's where idiopathic comes in. So basically I was dying as if I had AIDS or leukemia and no one knew what was wrong with me. That's where the idiopathic comes in. So it started out, I was 40 years old and I started feeling weak, and I ended up going into the ER room. They kept me in ICU for 12 days while they did the testing to clear me of AIDS, leukemia, and lupus. After the testing, they deemed me as idiopathic thrombocytopenia platelet disease, and after a very short period of time, this was my daily dose of pharmaceuticals, included in, some dangerous narcotics in there, several of them actually, and that was the beginning of my story. What happened is, shortly after I was diagnosed and prescribed all these pharmaceuticals, I had a young man in my church reach out to me and tell me that I should try cannabis, medical cannabis. To be honest with you, I thought he was out of his mind, and I kind of was mad at him, but I didn't have much to do because I was unable to work. I had to brush my teeth with my fingers, and I had to shave. I couldn't shave at all. A paper cut I could have bled out on. So I was nerfed inside of a small apartment, and I really had nothing to do all day but research. So out of curiosity, I'm like, why would he even say that? Because we had just become a legal caregiver state here in Michigan in 2008, and this is when he told me about it. I didn't become a caregiver or a patient until 2009, after spending a year and a half in our current system, our current medical system. So I started doing my research, and lo and behold, I started finding little clues like neurologically improved medicine made all the way up until the 30s, the mid-30s, here in Detroit, Michigan. So this is by Parker Davis and Company, Detroit, Michigan, USA. And there's another neurological tablet here, a chocolate-coated tablet. This is by Brown and Secord, Parker and Davis Company, Detroit, Michigan, USA. So these were all basically manufactured here in Michigan. I do have another one somewhere around here. It's a cough medicine in Jacksonville, Michigan, Chicago, New York, you name it. They were producing these medicines. So apparently they had some idea of what later became this patent, even up until the late 30s, right? Also, we got scripts here from the 20s and 30s from doctors actually prescribing these cannabis medicines to patients. So then I started thinking to myself, okay, we had it obviously in our system all the way up until the 30s. If you haven't heard of Rick Simpson, I'm going to put a link to his YouTube video, Run from the Cure. He was definitely a big part of my journey to this patent here. So what he had to say and what he documented in his life's experience with cannabis oil, the hemp oil, watch his story. It'll be in the description. Another gentleman that I hold honor to mention here that led me to this wonderful patent that we're interviewing today was Dr. Raphael McCullum. I am also going to be posting one of his videos in the description, and it tells us about our endocannabinoid system and methods of treatment that back up this patent that we're interviewing here today. Back to our special guest, the United States Patent. We'd like to know a little bit more about you, so let's go ahead and read you. It looks like that the discovery was cannabinoids as antioxidants and neuroprotectants. It looks like we've got an accountant and 2 MDs as the inventors. It looks like the assignee is the United States Department, or the United States of America, as represented by the Department of Health and Human Services, Washington, D.C. And this was granted in April 21, 1999. So in patent law, that it has since expired in 2019. But let's find out what the abstract was here. So it says right here, cannabinoids have been found to have antioxidant properties unrelated to MNDA receptor antagonism. This newfound treatment and prophylaxis, that word right there represents preventative. That's actually means preventative, a fancy word for it, of a wide variety of oxidation-associated diseases, such as insomnic, age-related inflammatory, and autoimmune disease. That's what I had right there, autoimmune disease. That's why I fell in love with this patent, because it had my disease listed right in there, which is practically any cancer and most of the diseases we're dealing with. Remember, it's cannabinoids as an antioxidant and neuroprotectant. So let's continue here. Autoimmune diseases. The cannabinoids are found to have particular application as a neuroprotectant, for example, in limiting neurological damage following insomnic assaults, such as stroke and trauma, or in treatment of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and HIV dementia. Non-psychoactive cannabinoids such as cannabidiol are particularly advantageous to the use because they avoid toxicity which is encountered with the psychoactive cannabinoids at high dose. In layman's terms, it's real high in cannabidiol and really low in tetrahydrocannabinol. So in essence, industrial hemp or hemp-derived oils. So when I found this patent, that's when I made the big leap. That's when I decided I was going to go from the standard to the natural, organic, and unconventional. So I have to say, I do thank you, patent, for giving me my life back. I thank you for giving me the evidence and the courage to formulate this abstract as close as I could to this patent that was granted to the United States Department of Health and Human Services. I do appreciate it, and I owe you my life. And I want to thank the United States Department of Health and Human Services for, finding this discovery, because it truly saved my life. So thank you again, and we hope to talk about you some more in the future, have you back on. We do appreciate everybody. We're sending love and glad tidings from our studio here in Michigan. Have a wonderful day.